Hello Wolves! So today, as you can see from the title, we're gonna talk about my March wrap-up, and as usual, I'm gonna need the help from Goodreads in order to remember all the books I've read or I've listened to, because I'm just that bad. I cannot remember everything I've read in a month, whatever. So today also I have cat ears, but my sweater says I'm a fucking pandicorn, so we're just gonna go with the vibe. So let me just turn on my computer, because yes, I'm that ready. So in total, I've read 10 books in March, which is good. Yes, good. So let's start with the first one. So the first book I've read is The Gilded Wolves by Roshani, Chokshi, I don't know. Roshani, Chokshi, and I give it 3.5 stars on Goodreads, and yeah, I've read it for the Howling Pack. If you don't know what the Howling Pack is, it is a bi-monthly book club that I created for you wolves. So I actually don't remember what I thought about that book. Let me check what I wrote on Goodreads. Oh my gosh, I should prepare that. Oh yeah, the first thing it's not that I really didn't like it, but I didn't enjoy it. Sometimes the font was different, very beautiful, but it wasn't the easiest to read, so I didn't like that in that book. First, I know it has nothing to do with the story, but the font is important. You don't want very tiny font, you don't want very huge font, you don't want weird font, you want something that's easy to read. So yeah, that was a down for me. I loved the characters. I know I compared it at some point to Six of Crows, just because yes, I found some characters similar to the one we have in Six of Crows. I found the heist was not that similar to Six of Crows, blah blah blah, but I still found it pretty similar. I know some people will hate me for that, but that's just the way I felt. It had some Da Vinci Code vibes as well. Some said Indiana Jones, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, I love the characters. They were deep, but not that deep actually, because I felt like the author was trying too much. She was trying to impress us, and it felt weird at some point and forced, so I didn't like that. Another thing that I didn't enjoyed about that book is that the author actually described the characters. You could say that that character loves to cook, that one loves to dance, etc, etc, just because you read the author saying so, and not because you see it through another character's point of view or because you feel it. So I didn't like that in the character development, but it was still good and enjoyable, so yeah. I also feel like we needed some more explanation on what forge was, because the characters actually talked about foraging, etc, but we don't really have an explanation about what foraging is, or maybe that's just me that I missed it. But yeah, so I was kind of lost at some point reading that book, because I didn't know if it was a YA fantasy or YA historical fiction, or it was weird, but I still enjoyed it. 3.5 is still good. I would definitely compare it and keep comparing it to Six of Crows, just because of some characters that were similar, like the role they had here was similar to the role they had in Six of Crows, and their relationship was similar too. Doesn't mean that was the same. It's just my point of view, but yeah. So have you read that book? If yes, please let me know what you thought about it. The next book I finished in March is actually The Last Battle by C.S. Lewis. So the last book in the Chronicles of Narnia. I give it 5 stars. Don't ask me why, even if it's not the best one, even if I'm not saying that that one is not the best one. I'm just saying in general, in the 7 books, I have favorite books, I love more than others, whatever, but I will never give any of them less than 5 stars. So yeah, next book. Then I listened to another audiobook. The title is Unfuck Yourself, Get Out of Your Head and Into Your Life by Gary John Bishop. I gave that one 3 stars, I think. Yes, I did, just because it was so repetitive, so repetitive. I expected something more like The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, which, by the way, he's gonna write a new one. There is a new one coming up, in the next couple months. I don't know, I'm not sure. So Unfuck Yourself, yeah, a bit repetitive. I didn't quite enjoy it. He was constantly saying the same things, so I was like, yeah. It was just like, the beginning was interesting, but then as he was actually really repeating the same things, I just lost interest. I didn't DNF it, I could have, but yeah. So I don't know. If you need someone to repeat stuff to you 10,000 times, maybe that's a book for you. It wasn't for me. Like, I was annoyed at the end, but hey, that's just me. The next book I've read and also Buddy read with Anna Francesca is Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. So first, this was a reread. I've read that book not a long time ago. I'm still late to the booktube game, whatever. But yeah, I loved it. 5 stars. What can I say? Like, I love the characters so much. I'm still obsessed by the story and the characters and the plot and the twist, etc, etc. I still want my no mourners, no funerals tattoo, and I will get it at some point, but I just don't know when. But I will get it. I don't know when, because I don't know where I want it on my body. Never mind, that's not the point here. So that was also for the Howling Pack. And yes, 6 Dangerous Outcasts, 1 Impossible Heist. I love the characters in that book. I love the character development. I mean, I'm a trash for Six of Crows. Any fandom, Six of Crows. I mean, anything. I will buy it. I will get it. Like, that's an obsession. I know. The next book I've read was a book I was waiting for, and this is The Warrior of the Wild by Tricia Levenseller. I'm a trash for Viking stuff. I know I haven't read a lot recently, I mean lately, but I will for sure catch up on that. And I haven't read Tricia Levenseller's other series. Like, I have Daughter of the Pirate King and Daughter of the Siren Queen, yeah, I think that's that. And I haven't read it, but I'm planning on, especially because I loved her writing style here. So I will definitely have the other series on my TBR soon, like in a couple of months. So this is a story of Rasmira. Rasmira is the last daughter of the leader of the village, and her dad actually wanted a boy, but hey, she's a girl. But she decided to go for the warrior career kind of thing. So she will become like one day the next leader of the village. So at 18 years old, they're gonna go through some kind of trials, and she's one of the best. Like, really, she's one of the best. But something's gonna happen during the trial and she will lose. And because of that, she's gonna be sent to the wild, and in order to come back to the village, she has to do something pretty much impossible and kill a god. So in order to go back to her village, she has to kill a god. I really loved the character development in the book. I loved the writing style. It was fast-paced. I read it in one sitting, and it's like a little less than, no, it's just a little over 300 pages. I really loved even the little romantic kind of thing in the book. It just made sense. So I really loved everything about that book. So very easy to read, very enjoyable. The characters were fine, the plot was fine, the twist was fine, the world building was fine. So yeah, definitely I will recommend that book. Did I say I gave it 4 stars? 4 stars. The next book I've read is a book I didn't know that was coming out, but it came out on December 31st. And when I heard that it came out, I just stopped working, because yes, I was at work, and I ran to the stores, like I really ran and bought it. And this is The Fork, the Witch and the Worm by Christopher Paolini, so the author of The Inherited Cycle, so Eragon. So this is not like a prequel to Eragon or The Inherited Cycle. It is like after it, because it has major spoilers in it, but this is basically a book with 3 tales. So The Fork, the Witch, and the Worm. And each tale has 3 chapters. The first chapter and the last one is told from Eragon's perspective, and then the middle one, so the second chapter, is actually the tale. In each tale, you're gonna learn something. It's good for kids, like you have the same in the Graveyard book by Neil Gaiman, you know. It's also like full of little stories and full of little like stories you will tell kids in order to learn something in life. So I really enjoyed it. It was obviously a 5 stars. I don't know if it actually deserves 5 stars, but I read it in one sitting. This is Aragon. I was waiting for a book by him again, so 5 stars, and I will definitely recommend it if you're a fan of Aragon, but after you finish the Aragon series. Don't do it before. So yeah. Then I read another book that was such a good surprise. I didn't expect to be that immersive or to make me so involved in the story, but she did an amazing job, and her writing style is just like, whoa. And this is the Nirvana Threads by Rachel Tremblay. Rachel is actually a rep for Unplugged Bookbox. In case you don't know her, check her Instagram. She takes beautiful pictures and she's such a good rep, believe me, so much better than I am. But she's also a writer, and oh my god, that story got me. This is basically the story of Carly. Carly is 25 and one day she's gonna have a car accident. Her husband's gonna die and she's gonna need a new heart. So after that traumatic accident, she will go back home to her parents and she will like spend her free time with her brother, who is 30 years old and who is also her best friend. She's gonna try to live a normal life again, you know, through mourning, etc. When she's gonna see that something is different, she's gonna start to see things she doesn't understand, and she's gonna try to understand them, but she will be scared at some point, but then she will love it and she will question herself, what do I believe in, etc, etc. It's all about love, but not love. There is a romance in it, and a very nice one, like cute one, etc. But it's not only about romancy kind of love, but also about friendship and brotherhood, like sisterhood, you know, family kind of thing. I really enjoyed it. It's very deep. It's like beautifully written. I love her writing style. Like, it's like poetic, and yeah, I really loved it. And the cover absolutely makes sense. I would definitely recommend that book. It's very short. It's a 4 stars for me just because I'm not like a romancy kind of person, but I really love that book. So that's why a 4 stars, but it could definitely be a 5 stars for everyone. I loved the punk vibes in it, you know, through music, through clothes, etc. I really loved it. And at the end you have little graphic novels about a graphic novel that the main character is actually drawing in the book. So really loved it. Then the next book is a book that was on my TBR for such a long time, but I never got to it. I don't know why I never got to it, just because I was scared, because so many mixed feelings about that book. So yeah, but I finally picked it up and read it, and this is the Hazel Wood by Melissa Albert. Yeah. So I gave it 3 stars because, oh my gosh, the first half of the book, I was hooked. I loved it. It was weird and a bit dark and twisty, etc. I loved it. But the other half, I was lost in the hinterlands. I was like, I don't know, confused. Like, I've read it, I understood everything, but I was like, why is this happening? How come that's happening? What the heck is that? Like, I was lost, and it was really weird. I don't know, it was pointless, but at the same time it wasn't pointless. I understood it was dark, but not that dark. It was like interesting but stupid at the same time. I don't know, I was lost. It's basically the story of Alice. Alice has spent her whole life on the roads with her mother because they kind of stay long at the same place, because they feel like they're getting unlucky, like something is following them and destroying their life, or blah blah blah. And so they have to move, to start over and over again. One day her mother is gonna get a letter telling her that her mother is actually dead, and her mother is actually the creator, the writer of a very famous fairy tales book. And that fairy tale book is actually super famous, and people are like crazy about it. And it is weird because all the copies of that book are getting like stolen or whatever. They're disappearing and they don't know why. And it gets harder and harder to get a copy of it, but never mind, that's not the main point. And one day, so the mother is gonna get that letter and she's gonna disappear. She's gonna disappear, and Allie's gonna freak out and she's gonna try to find her mother, and she's gonna discover some truth. Believe me, it's really like the first half of it got me hooked. I was hooked. I wanted to know what was happening, but the other half I was like, yeah. So that's weird. So mixed feelings here as well. But yeah. But I still want to pick up the sequel actually. So we'll see how that goes. Then I listened to another audiobook. I gave it 5 stars. It was so beautiful. I loved it. It was beautiful. I loved it so much. And this was Never Cry Wolf, the amazing true story of life among Arctic wolves by Farley Mowat. So he lived a long time next to the wolves because he was investigating. Like, people say that because of the wolves, the moose were disappearing, etc., etc. So he went there, lived with them or next to them, and saw the truth and fell in love with the wolves. And I'm not saying that it was beautiful just because it has to do with wolves, but it was like, wow, it was, wow, eye-opening. Like, wolves are really not that bad. Like, they're living their life and they have a system. If we could just take time to understand, and we wouldn't think that they are just bad and aggressive, etc. I really loved it. I gave it 5 stars, like high 5 stars. I loved it. Wow, I would recommend that book. And then I read, yeah, it was an ebook, a book with Dana from Paroline. So Paroline, you know her shop, link down below as usual. So we've read The Light Between Words by Laura E. Westmoth, whatever. This is the story of children coming back from magical worlds such as Narnia, and they have to learn how to live a normal life again. This is not like The Wayward Children, because this is just a story about 3 children, 2 sisters, 1 brother. The book is like split in 2. The first half of the book is from one character's point of view, and the second one from another character's point of view. First, we're gonna read about Evelyn. Evelyn is the youngest. She actually grew up in the woodlands, so where they were, she grew up there, and when she got back, she was like a kid all over again. She's going through a very hard time. She cannot adjust to that. She cannot live here anymore. She doesn't want to. She doesn't like her life there. And all she wants to do is going on the other side in the woodlands. And on the other side, you have Philippa, which is the older sister. And she wants to have a normal life again. She moved to America just to forget about that and to have a normal life, to create a normal life, to meet new friends, to study, to go, you know, further in life. Like, she wants to grow up normally. Something is gonna happen, and it's really about how to deal after that. Like, one is okay and the other one just cannot get over it. I feel like if I had been in another world, I would have such a hard time to adjust to this reality here, just because I don't especially like my life here. So I feel like if I would have been somewhere else, I would have want to stay there. So I feel like I'm more like Evelyn, and I would never get over that, you know, mourning that life. I would never do that. Like, I would be grieving all my life, and I would try to go back there. And that really touched me. There is no action in that book. Like, nothing is gonna happen. Like, stuff's gonna happen. It's not about action or adventures, etc. It's just very much like about the mind. How do you deal with that grief? How do you deal with that? Because actually leaving a word is grieving as well. And yeah, it was very powerful. It was well written. I love the writing style. The chapters were super short, so you could just like add one more. Come on, let's read another one and another one, etc., etc. I really loved it. I give it 4 stars, but it was really beautiful. I really loved it, but don't expect any adventure. Yeah. So well, that's it for my March wrap up. Let me know how many books you've read. What was your favorite read? What was your least favorite read? You know, chat to me down below as usual, because I love talking to you. I have no other friends than you. I did good. I was proud of myself. Now the magical readathon. The owls. Yeah, we'll see. at the end of that month because it's not looking good. But never mind. Wolves, thank you for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to be a part of the pack. And yes, talk to me in the comments as usual. So wolves, until next time, take care. Bye.